Welcome, everyone. This is Pilot Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week, I'm joined by Krister.
No.
No?
Oh, I said hello, but
Oh,
maybe my mic
hello.
keyed on halfway through. There is
Okay,
no
okay.
Chester, only Zool.
And Sanswinda.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Are you ready for some release notes?
Sure.
Well, I guess it would depend.
Hmm?
What kind of what are we talking about? Like 3 to 4 hours of release notes? Then I'd have to say that my enthusiasm
No.
is waned.
This one isn't all that large.
Okay, good. That made me feel better.
All right. The highlight is that Tier 3 of the new instances arrived on February 12th. Tier 3 of the new instances arrived on February 12th. The Leading the Charge deed is available to earn until 3 a.m. Eastern on March 19th. Access to Kingdoms of Harad is required to access, and you can learn more about Kings of Harad through the link provided in the release notes. And you can access the instance fire using Control J through the main menu button in game. Also, for news and notes, for instances, the treasure caves of Hurum Khana deeds now bestow correctly on all tiers. I will assume that that implies that they weren't before. Barlat's Enrage timer effect should not start until the fight begins. I could just imagine that if it started
That would be
before
so
the fight
awful.
begins, that means he would probably enrage on you before you had a chance to hit him.
Probably.
Yeah, that would be a tad frustrating.
That would be a tad frustrating. I can understand why they fixed that, yes. Sandblast has been adjusted from a 60-meter radius explosion to a 10-meter radius. All right. Yeah, I think that'll make that a little bit less frustrating. I could just imagine. Yeah, that's right. Everyone within 60 meters is going to get blasted to shreds. Yeah. Summoned Grasping Shadows now have more threatening skills. Barlat's Overseer's Impaling Strike skills now has an indication and deals damage in a frontal arc. And Barlat the Bold should no longer use Shower of Jewels and Gold piles simultaneously. He gets enraged and then he showers you with jewels and gold?
I mean, that
Well, you
almost
know what?
sounds nice, except it probably does damage or something mean.
Yes, I presume it's showering so fast. Yes, gold is a
There's got to be a
heavy
downside.
element. Yes. All right. For Ekal Nebi, the Fallen Palace, fixed an issue where the deeds were not bestowing upon entering the instance. Okay. Fix an issue where the guards summoned by the palace sentries in the stairwell after the Ratulko, the bloody encounter, would not aggro if players ran away. And the damage zone generated at the end of Ratulko, the Bloody's barb chain ability is now visible, and the curtain pools in a 6-player version of Dark Priestess Bard Kuni's encounter will now disappear after they have been used. And as for Kothral, the Wailing Hold, leading the charge and Vanquisher Deeds rewards were corrected. Ridaku's Calamity mechanic and now correctly drops 2 damaging areas, then puts down safe locations. Okay. Oh, all right. Those are different names because I was looking at the names Ratulko from the previous instance and Radakuls in this one. I think what? For one there, I was thinking that they're the same person. What? They survived one and went to the other? Okay, no, apparently not. All right. Sorceress Umbatha ads will stop spawning following a boss kill. Okay, that's good to know. As for UI scaling, Lua plugins are now supported by UI scaling. Oh boy, I was expecting that to be a couple of months away, but all right. By
Nice.
default, plugins will scale with the global scaling option. Plugin authors can change the scaling to their plugin with the following commands: added Lua functions for Windows and LOTRO. So for window, the function window set scaling origin point left and top, set the point of window scales around, default position is 0, 0. Function window get scaling origin point, get the point of the window scales around, default position 0, 0 returns left top. Function window register for global scaling, enable global scaling multipliers for the window scale. Function window unregister for global scaling to disable global scaling multiplier for the window scale. And function window set scale, update the scale of the window. If registered for global scaling, this value is multiplied by the global scale factor. Now, there is a known issue, and that is the first tooltip in a session will be unscaled, right?
What?
All right, map cursor coordinates now correctly match the map scale.
That's always nice.
All right, that's nice, okay. Tooltips are too large for the screen, no longer reset to minimum size, and instead correctly scaled to match the screen. Okay, yes. That was rather
That's kind of a
annoying.
funny thing if you think about it. It was too big to read because it was off the screen, and then it scales to too small to read at all.
Yeah, the big one on that one was my javelin. So reading the javelin on scaling was because everything looked fine when I checked out my spear because that has 10. Is it 10 or I think one has 10 and the other one has 11 or is it 11 and 12? Whichever is the case, there's one extra one on the javelin one. So it happened that I was able to read the one fine for my spear. When I read the one for my javelin, it was this tiny little thing that was completely unreadable. I was wondering what was causing that, but apparently because there's one extra entry, one extra tracery for one extra tracery for the item for the javelin in there, it was shrinking it to a tiny little bit that I can't. Yeah, they're totally unseeable. So I can understand why they made that update. All right, and let's see. And UI elements that save their size and position are better at restoring their size and position regardless of their scale between play sessions. Tooltips originating from the right side of the screen are now positioned closer to the cursor. Statically placed tooltips now correctly stay inside the client window even if the examination tooltip position window is set close to the screen edge. Scaled UI objects are better at staying in their relative screen positions when the client window is resized. Player map markers no longer go invisible on the maps, right? Corrected an issue that caused player storage items to be mismatched selectable areas in their visible image when scaled, and fixed a bug that caused UI elements to shrink when the HUD is toggled off, then on. As for general notes, crafted class items with essence slots will now properly appear as a choice when right-clicking a valid essence to slot. Fix an issue where Mizati would go missing if you canceled clearing the way before completing it, preventing you from being able to accept it again. The shields from Kingdoms of Harad instances available as drops or from barter will now correctly bind to account on acquire. And Seafarer's essences can once again be disenchanted into the appropriate malleable essences by using the flame of and Calamere. Crafted Seafarer's Essences boxes can again be used. As for known issues, the quest daily recovering relics is disabled due to a bug and cannot currently be progressed. This will be corrected in a future update. And that's it for the updates for 46.2. Any comments
Okay.
on any of this?
I don't feel too bad about this.
All right. Now, Krister, have you had a chance to run the new instances yet?
I have not. No.
All right.
Curious to hear what you had to say about it, however.
I have nothing to say about it. I haven't had a chance to run these either.
Oh, okay.
I tried them on Bull Roarer and I was getting slaughtered in there. And since I am mid-build, since I'm doing a new build for my warden and all that stuff, I'm definitely not in a state where I think that I would survive any of the new instances. So yeah, I haven't had a chance to actually do any of them as a result of that. But I am making progress in doing my build, so maybe soon I'll have an opportunity to it. It also doesn't help that a lot of the people in the Friday night fights, so more and more of them are getting up to 160, but we don't have a full set of 6 160s showing up yet for it. So until that time, I don't think we're going to be doing any of the instances.
Gotcha. Okay.
I figured though that I thought that Ploy would have been starting them by now. So
I'll have to ask some other people how they've been going. I think they have encountered difficulty. If
yeah, I can ask Finn because I believe Finn said something about running the new instances in there, so I'm assuming he did that with Ploy last night.
That makes sense.
I guess we'll find out on that. All right, so let's then head on to Bull Roarer, where they were doing some tests for Update 47. So the first Bull Roarer for Update 47, Folly of Kings. And that, of course, is the name of the upcoming raid. So as you can guess, the raid is sort of the big thing that they had in here. And first of all, they had access to Kings of Harad on Bull Roarer. Those who have pre-purchased Kings of Harad will have access to the content on Bull Roarer for testing of it. All right. And welcome to Update 47, Folly of Kings. The Folly of Nagakedi, which is a 12-player raid. For over 100 years, the Kentai elves have battled a mysterious blight, seemingly brought on by the Den of Stone. It has already consumed once beautiful Ottagame and now threatens the rest of the Elven Glades. An investigation by the Rangers Farron and Radrog have tracked the source of the blight to the folly of Nagahedi, but what dangers lurk inside the ancient and abandoned wonder? I don't know if either of you two have done Ottagame yet.
I've ventured into it a little ways, I think, with you and Cinders. But that's the
Yes.
furthest I've gone.
Yeah, I've forgotten how far. I think we got to the main village, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know there's one point where you get a quest that brings you to the folly where you discovered or something like this, and that sort of like is what's pointing to this raid eventually coming along.
Makes sense.
So but anyway, that's the little startup for the raid. So we'll see how that works. But we, of course, have other things in the release notes for classes and skills. For the Bjorning, Blue Line version of Ferocious Roar will now properly bestow the Rattling Roar deed.
Nice.
Okay. For the Brawler, Come at Me now correctly taunts enemies for 5 seconds. Okay. For the Burglar, Clever Retort builders now have diminishing returns.
They're probably not feeling very clever.
Yeah. For Champions, Emboldened Blades at Tier 5 will now cause remorseless strikes to hit multiple times.
Cool.
Okay. Now, for the Runekeeper, the trait Scathing Retort now causes Smoldering Raft to burn faster and tear down Writ of Fire to deal bonus damage.
Bonus damage
All right, so
sounds good.
yes. So now, the Guardian. Yes, there are more changes for the Guardian are coming up. And
Sorry, Guardians.
yeah,
Maybe
and
it'll be good.
Cinders did send me some feedback on this.
All right.
Yes, okay. Number 1, Stamp is now earned at level 12 instead of challenge. Now, I have to admit that when I was leveling a Guardian recently, one of my biggest frustrations was how late they get Stamp. And I was well into my 30s before we finally got it. And it's hard for me to believe that a tank character class could get its primary interrupt so late.
Pine Leaf, maybe you're just a late bloomer.
Yeah, but anyway,
I'm glad
so
they're
them
moving
bringing
it
it,
up, though.
yeah, because I was thinking, because I was looking for it, kept on looking, because when I hit level 20, I was kept on trying to look for that interrupt, because at level 20 is usually when you start to really need those things, because you're starting to do instances and the like. So I am quite glad that they now have an interrupt at level 12 because or will when the actual release is. Because yeah, I think it was something like 34, something like this, where you're getting it. 34 is way too late to get your primary interrupt. At least that's in my opinion. And as for Cinder, she says traded an interrupt for a taunt could be good. As I said, I'm a little stronger in yes, because well, personally though, I would think I think they have other taunts already by 20, I hope.
Well, and when you're the bottom line is at that particular age, are you really the main tank doing anything? No.
No.
So
Well,
why would you need your taunts necessarily?
yeah, at level 12, I just don't know when challenge is going to be gone, but I think you might have other taunts that you get, and of course, plus the changes to threat, maybe it's fine. Oh, and that reminds me of a problem that I did notice, though, when I was running some skirmishes over the week.
Oh.
And that is, you know how skirmish soldiers have been becoming less and less useful. Oh, ever since 105.
Yes, I have noticed.
Yeah, you've noticed that. Yes, I'm sure that every player who's reached level cap has noticed that by now.
Or
Well,
war,
right
Steve?
now it's even worse.
Oh.
Yeah, first off, they are just the simplest of hail mobs. If you had a regular hail mob, one single hail mob, and your soldier fighting together, guaranteed your soldier is going to die if you don't help them. And in fact, even if you do help them, your soldier is going to die. I've had
In other
several
words,
situations.
you skirmish
Several.
responsibly now without a soldier?
That's probably what's going to happen, because what happened is first of all, not only do they do virtually no damage. First of all, they're doing virtually no damage, but for some reason they're generating 10 times as much threat as I am generating. That's what it feels like, because I go around coming into everyone. I'm the first one to start the combat. All right. So that means everybody starts to come to me.
Right.
Then Flax shoots one arrow to them, it doing about 1/5 the damage of anything of my attacks. And the one that she hits immediately streams right towards Flax.
Ugh.
Despite the fact that I had the initial threat, so therefore, and once I do that and get around and start trying to I cannot get that mob off of Flax no matter how much I damage. I'm doing 5 times as much damage as she is, and I can't pull her
welcome
off.
to tanking. Welcome to tanking. There you go, buddy. You have become a tank. That is the I haven't been asking that question on my soldier. I ask that question in every single raid. Hey guys, I've got aggro. Oh no, I don't. The hunter did. Great. I can't pull it off because I'm on cooldown for everything. Let me just dance around while everybody dies. Yes, yeah. So you've tapped into a universal problem, not a soldier problem here.
Yes, but usually the hunters are doing twice as much damage as you are. So
it's because your soldier has a really irritating personality.
Maybe that's it. But when you have a soldier that's doing 1/5 of your damage, you will think that you could easily pull.
You would,
No,
wouldn't you?
no. I will have to see the next time I try a skirmish in tank stance to see. I mean, to see whether I could do a roaring challenge to get it back or anything like this, but the skirmish is probably going to take 10 minutes because I'm in tanking stance.
See, there you go. That's the whole thing too. Is like that's why you're like, do I expend all of my tauntness right now, or do I hit one taunt, hope that worked, and then save that taunt for whoever's going to pull aggro from me right now, so I at least have a chance to get it back.
Well, yes, but I know that some people have the philosophy is if the hunter pulls,
then the hunter tanks.
Right. If the hunter pulls, the hunter tanks. Yes.
All right, you took it. Good luck.
I mean, as a hunter, I expect to have aggro for a little bit. If I pull it, I don't usually go out intending to pull it, though, unless I'm, like, trying to get it away from a skirmish soldier.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, as much as we joke about it, if a hunter accidentally fires an arrow into a group to start a fight, that's actually better for me from a taunting perspective. Because I haven't taunted at all at this point, so now my taunt will stick,
Right.
I better never admit that again.
I heard nothing.
Yes. Heard nothing. Yes.
It.
All right. Okay. And here's where you get it. Challenge is now granted by specializing in the defender of the free. So therefore, that means that as soon as you you're getting that immediately.
Oh, that works too.
Okay, so you get challenge even earlier. I was thinking that they were pushing back challenge to when stamp was, which is the thing that. But it looks like it's for.
It looks like you just get challenge and then you get stamp earlier.
Yeah, by specialized, and defender of the free. But that means it's blue line.
Yes.
All right. But an extra taunt in blue line, then that I guess that's to be expected because that's where taunts belong. All right, so Fray the Edge. Oh, let's see. Fray the Edge cooldown is now reduced to 15 seconds when specializing in the defender of the free. Cinder says, "I'm always a fan of reduced cooldowns."
Shit.
Yep.
The disorientation trait has been removed. Cinder says, "I have no idea what that is." so apparently it must be in a different line than she is.
Probably.
Maybe she's disoriented.
Yeah, that's also the possibility. Smashing Strike, formerly Smashing Stab, is now a general skill earned at level 34. Okay, so this is now earned. Okay. So this. Okay. I see. They sort of did a ring around the rosy on this one. Then is that stamp earned at level 12 used to be level. So that bumps out challenge. Well, we do a challenge. Oh, challenge now is gained by specializing it, but that, I would presume, bumped out Smashing Stab, and now Smashing Strike then goes to level 34 where Stamp used to be.
Probably.
Okay, so that's what it seems to do. So the number of traits and all that stuff are the same. It's just that they did a little bit of a rotation there. And Cinders' note on Smashing Strike and all that stuff does not seem to be a skill I use, is what she said. So, all right. See, the break ranks effect is now applied by Smashing Strike rather than Shield Taunt. Smashing Strike bonus effects are now mutually exclusive, and Smashing Strike must be used directly after either Shield Swipe or Retaliation in order to gain the bonus effect. To which he says, I didn't know I was triggering that. So apparently, but she did say that it doesn't sound like a skill that she was using, so I presume then. And that sort of fits in with that. Smashing Strike can now be used while wielding a two-handed weapon. Oh, of course, because she says a red line. I think that's because Smashing Strike is now a general skill. Since it's now a general skill, it has to be usable by red line guardians in addition to blue line guardians. Before, it would probably require you to have a single hand weapon and a shield, because it was blue line exclusive. So therefore, I would presume that guardians pretty much in blue line you had to use sword and one hand and shield, I think.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Well,
because
I mean,
I can't.
I guess you could not and then not have access to the skills.
Yeah,
But
or
I
at least
think
half the skills, because there's several skills involve shields.
Right. So I could tell on my guardian which line I was running based on which weapons went to which line, because it had to be a one-handed shield for my blue line, and I used a two-handed for the red line. So
Okay. The shield spikes trait has been decoupled from consumable spikes and now always benefits shield skills, regardless of spike consumables. I think Cinders won't complain about that, right?
probably
I
not.
love that! Makes it easier to maintain DPS.
Yep.
That was Cinders.
Sounds accurate.
Yes, because I know that where she would be constantly taking breaks to add shield spikes to her shield because she needed it so that she could maintain DPS in there. So that's why she always thought it was so important to have the consumables up on there, is because apparently there was a skill that was depending on it. All right. I guess that makes sense. Let's see. Protection by the sword no longer grants auto crit to the user. And she yeah, no comment on there. And let's see. Insult to injury is now Wary Warrior, which causes the Guardian's ward buff to increase your melee damage. Boost melee damage? Sign me up! Oh, let's see. Oh, protection by the sword no longer grants auto crit to the user. Okay. And shield smash no longer stuns foes. Okay, that's what I wanted. Boo! That's what she says to shield smash no longer stunning foes. All right.
Come on, why not? I understand that.
Yeah. Okay. See, to the king can no longer knock down foes. Another boo from her. All right, let's see. Base Guardian's Ward buff duration increased from 10 seconds to 30 seconds. Looks like it is also a damage boost. So, that's awesome. Right. Demoralizing Anthem no longer reduces the active cooldown of Righteous Fury. Okay, apparently that's not a blue line thing, so Cinders had no comment on that one. Demoralizing Anthem. Oh no, actually, the max chance to gain Blind Rage has been reduced from 100% to 25%. Right, and Blind Rage is now increases your incoming damage by 5% while active. New red line trait. Reckless Attack grants skill Reckless Attack, which requires and consumes Blind Rage. Ranks 2 to 5 increase skill damage by 5% each. Rank 5 causes critical hits with Reckless Attack to grant parry responses. Okay.
All right, so that's why they nerfed it to do this enhanced version of it, right?
Apparently so. Let's see. Stagger now removes corruptions rather than sting. Thrill of danger no longer costs power to execute. Okay. All right, let's see. Stagger. Let's see. Shouldn't change much about play. Let's see. Well, I guess I'll have to remember to change to swap Sting and Stagger on my bar because I have a particular place where I put my corruption removal skills. So if I forget to move it, I will constantly be hitting Sting and wonder, wait, why am I not removing this corruption?
Right.
Sting and Stagger would be really cool names for your swords if you dual wielded.
I have a feeling that you're not going to be allowed to call a
I know.
sword Sting. Yes.
They call it Stang.
Stung, yes. All right. Charge
Sting.
cooldown. Charge cooldown is reduced from 60 seconds to 40 seconds. Move faster? Sounds fine. Charge tracery effect reduced from plus 11 seconds to plus 3.3 seconds. I mean, maybe a waste of a tracery. I only use charge to zip past hunters and wardens when they're using their own speedy feet.
Okay, fair.
And I can attest to this when watching her pass by me while I'm on my warden. We have increased the range on the defensive portion of protection by the sword to 60 meters. The parry response effect will only trigger when the protected target is within 20 meters of the guardian. Okay, the defensive portion is 60 meters, but the response effect is 20 meters. Okay. She said sounds fine. Charge effects are no longer removed when executing an attack while using the trait tree Defender of the Free. And Shield Wall will no longer remove or block the use of Protection by the Sword. Okay, she's fine with both of those changes. And that's it for the Guardian changes. Or at least the first iteration of the second round of Guardian changes, because things could change between now and the release of the raid. And I don't know the exact date when the raid's to be released, but I'm guessing it's supposed to be early March or something like that, so a few weeks away. So let's then head on to quest deeds and adventure areas. Travelers and adventurers quartermasters across the world now offer a repeatable weekly quest to trade embers of enchantment for virtue experience. All right. I guess that's like I said, if you're trying to get rid of embers so that the next time I get really annoyed when I get a Hobbit present full of embers right when I'm at 9,900, or was it? Is it 10,000 is the max? So when I have 9,900 embers, and so okay, you just lost 900 embers because you took your Hobbit present while you were at 99. Because it always annoys me when that happens, and I have to try to keep close attention to it and say, okay, why do I do this? I've been turning them into figments and then buying
Don't they
mounts I really
become
don't need.
figments when they're
What?
when don't they kind of become figments when they
Sort of. But anyway, but I think though that turning them into virtue points could be a nice compromise where I could turn in some of those so that I could bring down that number.
Yeah, that's incredibly frustrating. That they couldn't create, like, maybe it's even something where it's a temporary item in your inventory until you
Well, the problem is that then people would just gather it inside of their
True.
inventory.
That's true.
That's the problem. People will use it as a workaround to the limit, and their entire point is they want there to be a limit,
Right.
so that someone doesn't buy a full set of raid armor as soon as they're offered for embers.
I mean,
could
their
happen.
their full thing seems to be, we want you to grind, but we want you to grind specific content when we say you should grind it.
Yep. Well,
I mean,
well, they want you to do the latest content when getting the latest gear. That sort of
right.
Yep. It's not like things go into sticker books or anything like that. Yeah, right. So
Nope. There's no respect for when you have time to do it. When your schedule allows, it's like, nope, you'll do it on our time schedule or you won't do it.
Oh well. Let's see.
It works.
Class D. Oh,
It works. You just have to
all right.
recognize that's what they're doing, and
Yes.
sometimes it
Class
turns into
deeds will no
figments.
longer display a tooltip in the deed log that refers to obsolete trait points.
Nice.
Right? Guthie in Moria's Flaming Deeps at the Crossroads of Ash has found a new goat that you can use to travel to New Melek to complete the quest, leaving the deeps.
Well, the true question is that goat programmed in a sensible way, or is that goat programmed in the classic Moria way?
Well, I think that the goats that are to take you to the next location just automatically take you there. They don't
So it's probably an
actually.
auto goat.
Okay. There
Yeah,
are some
it's
amazing journeys that you could have with those goats.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. The far-ranging stable master in the 21st Hall has been labeled as such. The quest, Protectors of Wilderland bounties, can now be cancelled. It will also no longer auto-bestow and will instead become available in the quest actions available tab. I have a feeling a lot of people were getting annoyed by that.
Probably.
By that quest. And barrels in Hootbold should no longer murder players.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Instances and skirmishes. It is now possible to start private encounters from inside of a neighborhood.
Oh, that's good.
How long?
Yes,
How long have we been waiting for that one? Oh boy, that's at least 15 years, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I was going to say, right? The moment neighborhoods existed is when people wanted it. So
Well, I think though when neighbors would first invented, it might have been. I don't think the instance panel existed yet, so that you had to go to the location
true,
anyway.
true. You're right. You're right.
So yes, I would say ever since we've had the instance panel would probably be closer to. So that'd be. Well, actually, the instance panel was introduced with. I was going to say with skirmishes, but that was round one to it. They've changed. It's the instant panel's gone through a couple of iterations since then because because I think at first you could only start skirmishes in there, but then had it use it for the instance, any instance or whatever. So whenever they instance, so that, but I'm sure people were complaining about it with skirmishes at least ever since the skirmishes were available.
Now, this opens a question I have never even thought of before.
Mm-hmm.
What came first, Pine Leaf or Skirmishes? Because I'm thinking Pine Leaf.
Pine Leaf existed before skirmishes because Pine Leaf came around on launch day of Moria. And skirmishes, even though now skirmishes unlock when Moria gets unlocked when you have a legendary server, that's because they added the Moria skirmishes later on. But because originally there were no skirmishes in Moria. And I'm glad they don't make you suffer through the old version of what they had before.
Oh, come on. It was
do,
fun.
do you
You
remember
spent
Drums
3
of the
hours
Deep?
working into an area, and then you got your goal accomplished, and you realized you had 3 hours of working yourself out of that area.
Yeah. But and those 6-player instances that existed before skirmishes for Drums in the Deep was really, really annoying. And that's, but in any case, whatever it was, that Pine Leaf existed when Moria was, and skirmishes, of course, came with Mirkwood, Southern Mirkwood. All right, let's see. Okay, monsters in Kothral, the Wailing Hold, should no longer stand around waiting for orders when entering combat. Treasure Caves of Harun Kana. Sandblast has been corrected from a 60-meter radius explosion to a 10. I think they didn't they do that in the latest update? Yeah, okay. Okay, most of the rest of the stuff in this skirmishes are things that they implemented here, but I guess they had to bring it into the Bulwer build because of when they started it. So it got applied to both of them separately. All right. Items and rewards. Lore Master traceries are now sorted more appropriately in the Rivendell archives. And Lumgana, Ariloth, Alhamar, and Simanisi, the quartermasters for the 4 factions of the Kingdoms of Arad, are now correctly labeled as quartermasters. As for PvMP and the Entmoors, many members of the Coldfell's army have undergone extensive training programs and received better preserved rations, increasing their health. Coldfell's army captain generals should now have health more commensurate with their tyrant counterparts. Fixed an issue in the Open Groups tab on the social panel where the class filter menu did not properly list all of the available classes. And for war leaders, Scorn healing potency has been reduced slightly, and Scorn, petty criticism, crack the whip, and quit whining and fight power costs have been increased slightly. And that's it for what we have in the first round of Bulwer for Update 47. I'm sure there'll be more tweaks as things go along. Anything you have to say about any of this?
I'm interested to see what Sindris has to say about the Guardian changes in practice now.
In practice?
Yeah, after she has a chance to use them.
Oh, you mean of the update 46.2?
Yes.
Or
Yeah, I follow.
46.1
Yes.
changes to them, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we will be interested in hearing her review of that maybe next week. And that's it for the release notes for Bull Roar. So that means we have just one more little item in our news, and that is that Scenario and Orion had another episode of We Have a Cave Troll where they were talking about the benefits of Bull Roar, of what Bull Roar is, and what it's for, why it acts the way it does, and things like that. And we do have a link to the YouTube video in our show notes. So that means it's time to look at some sales. And Sans, what's on sale this week?
Well, this week, you can stand out from the crowd. Get 15% off select shared wardrobe, select cosmetic outfit slots, mounted combat trait, and select cosmetics through February 19th. But as always, double check that there's not a way to get it in-game if you want to avoid using your LOTRO points for it. Because most things are available in-game as well for cosmetics.
Well, the question is whether it's available in a way that you could readily get it. I mean, if it's something that's easy to get, yeah, don't.
Or, like, if you have friends who are willing to help you earn it,
Yeah.
go for it. But if it's something that you really need right now and you cannot easily get it, well, this is a good way to get it. Because it's on sale. If it's one of the select cosmetics.
Right.
And the weekly coupon is Heirloom Blue. And your coupon code is Once Unbroken. And that should also work through February 19th.
All right. Thank you very much. And Krister.
I was looking at my characters, and I completely forgot that one of my Bjornings had one of the most beautiful cloaks I've ever come across in my adventures. And so I decided to post it in our show notes tonight. And with the question of what is your favorite cloak that you've ever come across? Or what's the most beautiful cloak you've ever come across in the game?
All right.
Figured maybe that's something we could talk about next week or something.
Oh, next week, not today?
Or today. Today and next week,
Oh, yes, because we may get
Forever.
some feedback on their own. And anyway, as for cloaks, I'm not too much in wearing cloaks. In fact, I very rarely wear a cloak of my characters. There's only one time where I routinely wear cloaks, and that is when I'm in a very, very cold area such as Forgel. Because, well, if I were trying to run around in Forgel, I would be wearing a cloak. And so therefore, to me, my favorite cloak to wear then is the very, very fur thick cloak that's associated with that area. And I wear that one because it makes it look like I'm wearing the cloak because I'm trying to keep warm. So it's a nice, warm cloak. So I don't even do it because of how it necessarily looks, but because I guess because it looks nice
right.
and warm to me compared to the other ones.
Cool for you.
Yeah.
It's not something it's not a part of your outfit. It's just a tool that you will use.
Right. So usually what I do is I will put the cloak I will put that into my cloak slot, and then I will click the eye on or off. So therefore, I will keep it off. In other words, not showing normally, but when I go into a cold area, then I will click it on so that it will be visible. And that's also the only time I wear a hooded cloak, because usually on the rare occasions where I do wear any other type of cloak, it would be a non-hooded cloak. And the only hooded cloak I ever wear is that same cloak because, well, if I'm doing it to keep warm, I'd like to keep my head warm too.
That's the most important part.
Yeah. All right. Sense, do you have
How
a
about you,
favorite
Sam?
cloak?
Well, the cloak that I'm most likely to be wearing is the Swanfleet one, I believe. I don't know if it has a better name, but it goes with the Swanfleet armor.
Yeah, that's a beautiful cloak. That really is.
Anyway, I really like it, and it still goes with my legendary item cosmetics from that time period that I've now equipped cosmetically, and I just like it, and it dies pretty nicely.
Okay.
That's a genuinely important aspect for me too.
Right?
How does it die? It looks beautiful, but how does it die? Oh,
It's not
never mind.
my like favorite to look at though. It's just my favorite to use. So I'll have to see if I can figure out what the favorite one that I've ever seen that I've got in my wardrobe is. But I'll have to go find the name of it when I can have
Yeah, that's what I was
game
kind of
sounds
figuring. Maybe
going.
this was a question to ask this week, and we could discuss it more next week
Yeah.
if you guys are
Say,
up
but
for
I
it.
know the one that I use most often is the Swan Cloak or the Cloak of Many Worlds.
You know what's strange is that in DDO, where I like wearing cloaks even less than I do in LOTRO, there's only one cloak that I've intentionally wore in DDO, that I really like wearing. And that one is the opposite effect of the one I wear in LOTRO. And that's because the cloak is in its center area is transparent. So therefore it's designed to look like a scarf. Because where the artwork is, so it looks like you're wearing a scarf instead of a cloak.
Nice.
And so that's the favorite cloak I have in DDO in there. So it's the actual one because in LOTRO I have the thickest, warmest cloak ever, and here is a scarf. I guess scarves are associated with
It still
cold
feels
weather
like you're
anyway.
trying to keep warm. Yeah.
Yeah. But except for this case is that it's just that the thing I like about it is the fact that it doesn't cover the back the way a cloak would because it looks like a scarf instead.
Nice.
And in fact, in LOTRO, when the few times that I have my shoulder, because I usually have my shoulders off, and the few times where I do have my shoulders showing is it looks like a short scarf. It's those things that look, the mantles that look like you know somewhere between a mantle and a scarf on there. Those are the ones that I would normally wear in LOTRO when I'm wearing shoulders on the rare occasions that I actually bother to wear them and show them. Anyway, if you would like to send a comment on that one, you could, of course, send an email to podcast@lochoplayers.com. But now, let's head on for our week in gaming. Krister, what are you up to?
Well, in Lotro, I decided to take on the task where I was going to get all of all character specific bound items out of my shared storage and into those characters' local storage, and then get all non character specific items into shared storage. And I really realized what a nightmare it is when you're an inherently disorganized person and you've been disorganized in this game since the first week. So it's been a giant pain, but it's given me a chance to kind of look through all my characters and really kind of figure out what it would be really nice to play going forward or focus on. And of course, I feel Krister's going to be just as an effective tank as he has been. I just need to get up to max level now and get the latest equipment, and I'm good to go. But boy, it's I really think the minstrel would be fun just because that's the opposite of anything I typically play. But boy, the Bjornings were kind of fun to play too. And I still think at this point, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the Bjornings are still considered really good healers, right? Like main healers.
You're asking me?
I'm just curious. Yeah, I mean, have you guys heard me? That's what I understood.
The last I heard, Bjornings were able to heal. Yes.
Well, I should really. I think Maven would probably be the best one to ask that question.
She would be the best one to ask that question to.
Yeah.
She
So,
has
anyways,
been on her bear a lot, so probably, maybe.
I think she's done a good amount of healing on her Bjorning too. So. But yeah, so anyways, just working kind of on administrative tasks in LOTRO. It's been very intimidating, but the whole point is, for the first time in my LOTRO experience, to organize my inventory truly. And it's just I'm at the very beginning. It's an incredibly daunting task. Helldivers had a major release where you are attacking the automaton homeworld. That has been a lot of fun. It has been brutal, but very rewarding. And then I've been in my creative tsunami, so I've made some advertisements and been doing all kinds of creative things this week. So that's I really enjoy it when I'm in creative mode. And so this week was a really good week in gaming for me. Sans, what were you up to?
Well, this week I did some more cooking in LOTRO for Reputation. Kind of boring cooking, really, but it's coming along. And I finished questing and obtaining max rapport for my companions in ESO. So now I just need to get them all to max level, and then they'll all be max, and I'll have their passive bonuses. And my newest character finally has a fast mount in ESO. I finally maxed that out this week. So
Congrats.
Thank you. That was pretty much my week. How was your week, Pineleaf?
Right. Well, my warden finally learned just what the Song of Waves and Wind is. I think you two still haven't gotten to that point in the storyline.
You are correct.
Yes. And I also had my first opportunity to test out my DPS build in a group. So I was doing Friday Night Fight. So I was playing on the DPS role in there. We're playing with 6. We still don't quite have a full 6 that's 160. So I think we had 4 160s, a 158 and a 152 or 3 in there. So we were, getting close to there. So maybe soon we will have a full set of 160 so that we could try things a little tougher in there. So I was trying to see how well I could work on DPS on my warden in there. And when we had the case where we had to drop down to 3 because some people had to drop off after a few instances in there, we got along in there. Someone started up a skirmish and we charged in there, and I noticed too late in there that there was no tank in our group, that we had something like, I think, one person, a heal / DPS hybrid, one healer, and I was playing DPS in there. So I suddenly realized, wait a moment, this isn't going to work. We were almost wiped there on,
we're all gonna die.
A deep way on there. Fortunately, and realized this, so I was trying to get everybody to slow down a little bit so that I can have a chance to swap over into a tanking stance. So I swapped over the tanking stance, and so I did the next round of this tanking stance. I was doing a tanking stance with my DPS weapons, because when I created a DPS character, I took it seriously, and I actually created a separate DPS and a set, and I'll be converting my old set into a tanking set. So I had this little mixture weapon. So I was in tanking stance, but still with DPS weapons. Then on the next round, I was able to go around finally swapping them back and forth, and I finally was doing anything tanking in there. So now I remember, okay, how do you tank with this character now? Since I hadn't tanked with the character for a little while in there, But yes, things were a lot smoother once I had into there and started gathering there and trying to tank the stuff and acting like a tank instead of standing way back there throwing javelins into the crowd as I was doing when I was doing DPS. So yes, I had a little bit of a mental shift there I had to do in the middle of that. But it looks like we got through it. It looks like I can still do it. But I do need to upgrade some of my tank items because I think a couple of them are still at tier 15. So I need to get them up to tier 16 or at least see if there are any that do need to do it. And Dungeons & Dragons Online, I quested in the Feywild, so doing reasonably well into that area. Got through most of the story area. Have a couple quests left there. And in ESO, I started a new Nord character. I wanted to have a character that's set in the Ebonheart Pact in there. So I created a new Ebonheart Pact character as a Nord. Went through the intro and started the early quest in there. I'm in the Stone Falls now. I've reached level 20. I did do a couple of things. I've been trying to avoid Western Skyrim because Western Skyrim is where I plan to play with this character on Drac. But I did go and grab the scrying tutorial because I was not going to skip that on this character. And the other thing that I did is I did go to High Isle to grab Isabel.
Did
So I do
you go to Cyrodiil to get your gallop?
No, I did not go to Cyrodiil to get my gallop. I do think I have to do that partly because there are a couple of assault skills that I noticed that a lot of people who make builds for tanks like a couple of assault skills.
Yeah, and well, and keep in mind too that you don't have to actually do anything in Cyrodiil if you want to just get gallop. You just do the training tutorial, and that's going to give you.
Yeah, that's all I have to, I just do the training
But
tutorials and all that
but
stuff.
yeah, like you're saying
And
though, is if you want to get a couple of ranks in assault, you're going to be this. There, you're absolutely correct. Is there's skills people use.
yeah, those are skills. So I went because right now my main I think is level 3 in assault, which is I think a little bit better than I was expecting.
Well, yeah, well you went out and did a lot of stuff actually. You and Cinders did so.
Yeah, we went on. Yeah, we did go out and there do those. We did several dells. We got
Yeah.
several sky shards, and we did every domain in Cyrodiil. So yes, I did spend a little bit of time in there, despite the fact that I don't normally head into there. So I probably am not going to be as scared of Cyrodiil, especially the parts that are away from the main action.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was terrified when I first went in there, but then of course you realize, okay, unless you're where the action is, more than likely that you're not going to encounter anybody. It's going to be
Yeah,
incredibly rare. So
yeah. Apparently, there is less incentive for ganking in ESO than there is in LOTRO. So
yeah, I wonder how that is nowadays. I hadn't played very much out in the monster play area, so I don't know
in the moors, yeah,
if that's still notorious or if it's just not enough people out there to matter anymore.
yeah. The idea there is if you're getting most of your reward by doing certain other things like flipping keeps and the like, then people are going to go around flipping keeps and the like. I don't know what the balance is on that, and I don't know. I'm sure there are some people there who just enjoy ganking people anyway.
Yeah, and like you see, and I don't think. Well, you have come to the weekend PvP thing, haven't you?
I have not done that
Okay,
yet.
yeah, because that's what's nice about that is that it is purely about really earning AP. It's really just about earning it. So we're not really looking to fight, but we are ready to fight and willing to fight. Um, but that's what makes it kind of fun. There is that you are going to be earning meaningful resources. You know.
Yeah, and the resource that I think that is most important, I got the impression that by far the single most important, and I don't care too much about AP all that much, but those transmutation crystals sound like they're going to become important at some point.
Yes. Yeah. You're absolutely correct. That's that. I would agree that that might be even more valuable than the AP that you're getting. But yeah, you're going to get those all the time doing it. So
Yeah, because right now, I have very few. I think I have 150 transmutation crystals. So it's like, okay. And I looked at what do you have to do in order to get them, and it's like, really? Okay, really? Oh well. Yeah,
yeah, I
they're very hard
with
to get.
when we did that mayhem event that just occurred, I probably would say that maybe I got over 2,000 of those. So it was a significant amount that you can generate.
And when you go in and you start like repairing stuff, you get AP for that. You get AP for just being hidden in a corner when they're flipping a keep. Like,
Yep.
there are lots of ways to earn it, even if you're squishy,
No,
without
I was
being
just
in
remember.
serious danger.
I just remember when last week when Cinders and I were just for giggles were flipping Bruma. Like, and how we
That's
got
always
away with that,
that
I don't
place is
know.
nerve-wracking because it's a city, so you actually have a couple different places you have to go.
There are
You're nervous
three.
about running into something.
There are three flags in there, and of course, we're the main reason we went to Bruma is because there's a dome in there.
Of course.
All right.
And you were after Dolman.
Yeah, we were after Dolmens at the time. Anyway, that's it for my week in gaming. If you would like to send us feedback, you could send it to podcast@lotraplayers.com. The Players Alliance has two shows on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We have Lotra Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You can join our shows at lotraplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pipe Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.